The year, 2009. The place, Boston, Massachusetts. Toby Fox, a young environmental sciences student, comes home from a long day at the university. He's tired, but decides to indulge his hobby before settling in for the night. He boots up his computer. Working tirelessly, he remixes a song composed for a small but growing webcomic and uploads the finished product to the forums of a website known as MS Paint Adventures. This was not intended to be anything more than a side project. Little did he know, it would change his life. Creative opportunities have changed. Where once the idea of making a living off of one's own creativity was difficult at best and only achieved by those lucky enough or determined enough to survive grueling conditions, now, even I, a university student planning a future in a completely different domain, can express my creativity and receive feedback on it from anyone who may come across it. This is due to the ever-growing system for archiving creative works that we call the internet. But why? Why does the internet continue to host millions of images and videos that at their core are simply someone's idea in a single moment? Why are the internet and streaming services killing television? An episode of a television program can take months to create, and yet the stream of consciousness ramblings of an amateur comedian are preferred.
Hedgehogs, eh?
The power of the internet as a creative tool is what I want to explore in this video, by demonstrating how Toby Fox, an environmental sciences undergrad, was able to completely reorganize his life in 10 years to become a well-known video game composer due to the internet. Let's take a step back and look at the very first project Toby Fox put on the internet that got his name's and ideas' attention, what is known as the Earthbound Halloween hack. Earthbound, the video game in which the hack is based, is a strange work in its original form. It's a breakout RPG for being set in a contemporary time frame. Up until the point of its release, almost all RPGs were set in remarkable time periods, either far into the future or into the past, in order to draw in audiences. Earthbound, however, took a different approach, of creating a modern world filled with strange enough occurrences that an audience would constantly be intrigued about situations very similar to their own. The Earthbound Halloween hack took tools and built a new world based on the original game, but with new settings, music, and characters to evolve certain themes to an extreme level. Fox amped up the darker tones, present subtly in Earthbound, and made them the main conflict. This changed experience from feelings that the environment was odd to it being completely hostile. Essentially, this change in emphasis creates a completely new experience through exploratory creativity.
Exploratory creativity, the exploration of a particular and bounded creative space. Bordeaux, K. and Barrett, C. 2014.
Fox took the source material and transformed it into a work of his own vision. This is the most common form of creativity on the internet. It allows those with less experience or credentials to express their thoughts about a particular existing subject. The creation and struggles to create in this form also become very clear when viewing the work put into something like the Halloween hack. Earthbound was a game programmed by relatively inexperienced developers, and the tools used to alter the game were even more cobbled together. Fox himself said,
"The entire editor took on a sort of clunky, patchwork approach to ROM editing. Different parts of the program were written by different authors, and different parts of the program rearranged and redirected data in the Earthbound ROM in different ways, sometimes conflicting with each other." Fox, R. 2015.
On his own, now defunct, website. Working around these bugs and finding the necessary files within a cascade of unreadable code in itself requires some ingenuity. Despite the bugs and what fans have described as brutal difficulty, these unintended negatives almost complete the intended effect of the narrative in an unexpected way. The difficulty creates a feeling of dread, realistic to the tone of the game, and the bugs only add into the themes of insanity. Overall, as a first outing in the early days of the internet, this solidified the name Toby Radiation Fox as one for fans to keep their eye on, which led into the next big creative endeavor of his life. Fox, like many others during 2009, became enthralled by a new platform simply called MS Paint Adventures. On it, the site's owner, Andrew Hussie, posted his webcomics, which, at the start, were all drawn in Microsoft Paint. This would change as the comics became more popular. The fourth comic posted to the site would become its most popular and iconic, going by the name Homestuck. Homestuck is a genre-defined piece of work. While being classified as a webcomic, it encompasses much more than just static images, although those are present. In its height, Homestuck included music, animation, GIFs, and playable segments through Adobe Flash, telling an over 8,000-page-long epic of referential humor and complex time travel plotlines. Homestuck was also audience-driven, at least in the beginning. Readers could input on what events should take place next in the plot, until the fan base grew so large that the number of suggested outcomes were too much for Hussie to take into account. This shows the first hint as to the driving force behind internet creativity: vernacular creativity.
Vernacular creativity, a way of describing and surfacing creative practices that emerge from non-elite, specific everyday contexts. Light, B. Griffiths, M. and Lincoln, S. 2012.
Thus, by inviting fans to input into the story of the comic, Hussie unintentionally highlights what makes internet content special when compared to mediums like television. It is, in a simplified way, audience participation. When thinking about streaming, or a situation such as this, it is not so much the story itself that is the locus of attention, but instead the creator and the in-jokes and references they can make to have fun with their fans. The unique ways they present these jokes is, in turn, inherently creative. In early development, Homestuck sent out a search for talented songwriters to assist in scoring the soon-to-be-a-massive undertaking. Toby Fox did not respond to this call. He did, however, take to remixing one of the songs already made for the comic, to such good effect that Hussie asked him to join the team anyway. This would be where Fox's journey would truly begin. As Homestuck quickly became famous across the internet for its overall insanity and engaging way of telling a story, Fox, as a creator, grew along with it. Since then, he's composed tracks for over 10 volumes of Homestuck music and the Homestuck video game known as Hiveswap. In the meantime, however, Fox would steal the limelight for himself under his own self-published game, Undertale. Fox developed the entirety of Undertale by himself, with extra art submitted by his friends. Undertale became a massive success for its creative and funny dialogue, real choices, and genre-bending themes. Undertale is essentially a choose-your-own-adventure story, with 3 different endings depending on the actions you take. You can be a pacifist and not fight anyone, or go for a genocide route and kill everything. This harkens back to vernacular creativity, as part of the experience is an individual's own motivation to put in the extra work for a good ending or suffer through the worst outcome. While Undertale itself is only connected to the internet through references made to it in dialogue, the internet, and most importantly YouTube, contributed to its massive success. Because of its somewhat personalized nature, each playthrough being a little different, viewers watching people playing or streaming the game would almost always be shown a somewhat new experience. Once again, for the 3rd time, a selective community on the internet came together to sing the praises of Fox's work, only this time, it was more massive than ever before. Let's take a deep dive into what makes Undertale so unique and so uniquely creative. It is inspired by Earthbound as well as arguably Homestuck, as the overall dry wit of the 3 works are very similar. The art for the game, again much like Homestuck, is very simple. This allows fans to interpret events in a way not dissimilar to when one is reading a book. Most importantly, however, is the music. Fox scored the entire game, and there are small musical references known as leitmotifs sprinkled throughout almost every piece. In defining the application of leitmotifs, Matthew Bribitzer Stull says,
Certain leitmotifs arise primarily as form-defining themes, only later returning for largely expressive purposes. Bribitzer Stull, M. 2015.
Therefore, a leitmotif is an interesting concept, because it not only serves as fan service for followers of Fox's early works, but it also allows audience members and players to quickly pick up on the similarities and connections between characters within the narrative. For example, this is a song played for an early boss in the game. Now this is a song played later in the game for a mid-boss that is related to that first boss. Another example, and one I could not get away with not mentioning, is Megalovania. This music is used to signify a climactic fight, and is a remix of one song that was used in the final battle for Earthbound Halloween Hack, as well as an apocalypse scenario in Homestuck, and now, finally, the final battle theme for Undertale. This immediately fills in fans to the significance of the character and the strength they possess. In fewer words, the use of leitmotifs in the game transmits information without forcing Fox to have to explain exactly what he means. This once again allows for interpretation, and can be attributed to explaining how fast the fanbase for Undertale grew. Currently, after the massive success of Undertale, Fox is working with one of the biggest and most renowned video game studios in the world, Nintendo, and his climb shows no sign of slowing down. The sequel to Undertale is in development, and the demo for it was praised by fans and new players alike. Fox's climb illustrates the unique aspects of the internet that allow it to be a tool for a whole new form of creative opportunity. Without the willingness of internet patrons to engage with unknown, or in some cases underdeveloped, creative ideas, and indulging their creators, this creative space would not exist. Thus, the secret key to success on the internet is connectivity. Whether that be connectivity with the fans through allowing them to engage the audience directly, or through one-liners directed at them, creative content on the internet is defined by collaboration. On a personal note, this journey that I've detailed has been inspiring, and while the future of YouTube and other sites is shaky, I can't help but try to enjoy the ride while it lasts. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you are as excited as I am about the future of internet creativity.